Hey, what's going on, yo goats? It's your boy 3, representing TKOG, and I'm coming at you guys with my second place Malice deck profile. We played, me and my team went down to the Team 3v3 VIP qualifier down at our local card shop. They're only gonna give it to first place. First place at that event got a 2-round bye at the YCS, the 3v3 YCS coming up in Vegas. Before we get any further, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Run me by likes, because I know you're going to like it. And yeah, you guys, we're going to get into it. There was some crazy stuff that went down at that tournament. The reason why we finished in second place is actually a crazy controversial thing. Our round 3 players, we were undefeated in our hearts, but we finished second place. But our round 3 opponents, just a preference really fast before I go into the list. My player A and C were told they were in the wrong seats by our opponents. My teammate double checked because this was the same guy that I've been telling him. He was like, oh, it's right to left. And all day it was actually like left to right. And like the order of our names that you saw on the screen was actually how we were supposed to seat. So they were being deceptive. Like they were being deceitful. And my teammate, and I was already playing. Like I was power shuffling. I was power shuffling getting ready. And so basically we had our player A and C in the wrong seat after our opponents told them multiple times you're in the wrong seat, switch. And they're my homie is my bros is actually cool with one of them, so like he trusted him. And so what happened was in game 1, I'm up. I'm player B on my turn, by the way. So I'm player B. I'm playing against Rizio Fiendsmith. I'm already up that game. I played through Imperm Ash. I ended on Griffin full back rows with a face down Impulse and a Metaltronus in hand. And that's just it, bro. He was cooked. And so 6 minutes into that match, when he was about to lose, because I could see it already, he has to scoop. He has to scoop to save time. He calls over the judge, and this judge that ruled is their bro. Like, that's their buddy. We go to this local, so everybody knows everybody, and that's like their very close friend. This same judge was asking for my Mo Charming Meow for those people, for one of those guys that cheated us, bro. I was like, oh, heck no, bro. I ain't selling that to none of them, bro. They can kiss my whoop whoop. And so, yeah, bro. So he calls the head judge over there, and because when he went straight to the head judge, because that's his bros. There's multiple judges, but of course he calls his homie, and he explains to him, hey, player A and C are in the wrong seats. And I'm like, how do you know that? Their player B saying that. I'm like, how do you know that? Your homie just told them that they're in the wrong seats, and they had to switch. And then after they switch, you call over the judge and say, hey, they're in the wrong seats. And so we argued hard because we're like, bro, they played us. And he's like, there's no ruling. There's no Konami sanctioned ruling. So I'm just going to have to call this on my own judgment. I'm going to give you guys a game loss because you're in the wrong seats. And it's too late to repair it. And I was like, at that point, then you should penalize them too because they said it. And then he was like, there's no way that I can prove that they had malicious intent when they said that. I was like, bro, this is crazy. Is this their strategy that they came here with? No skill, just sharking, bro? There's so much sharking happening right now, and it's really, I'm just saying this also to warn you guys in advance, because this might be something people do at the 3v3 YCS. People will do anything to win. They don't even care about skill, bro. They just want to win so they can feel good about themselves. One-dimensional. Their whole life revolves around Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't have a wife, they don't have a girlfriend, they don't have nothing else going for themselves but Yu-Gi-Oh! So they cheat to win, to feel better about themselves because they have low self-esteem. Whatever their problem is, bro. I feel like if you're playing Rizio, you got low self-esteem issues. So anyways, bro, that happened. That was our only actual loss. I finished X1. I played against 2 mirror matches, 2 Malice mirror matches. One was Fiendsmith, one was Pure. And I played against Rizio, Fiendsmith, and Mitsurugi. And my only loss was in that match, which sucked because what I wanted to do was for us to turn around and reverse 2-0 them and say, that's what you get. Cheating never prospers. But I bricked in game 3 of that match because so I was up game 1. Game 2, I scooped to save time because I was like, there's a low chance I play through this board, and it's predicated to whether his back row was real. Like, I was like, if that's a strike and an imperm, I'm not playing through this. I don't even want to take a chance. He probably does have strike, and he probably does have imperm. He already had field spell. I could play through his engine, but it was the unknowns that I was like, dang, I'm not sure. So I didn't even want to waste time. I wanted as much time as I could have for game 3. Went into game 3, my opening hand was double cross out, triple tactics thrust, TB07 and TB11 and MP07. So I'm like, dang, he lances me in draw phase. I'm like, oh, bet, bro. Thrust set D barrier. I set my double trap and cross out in case he has a cross out for my D barrier. Keep the other cross out in my hand for my turn, because I'm like, the traps give me follow up. I just need a turn skip, and my boy draws Engraver and tracked. I'm like, calm down, bro. So I lost that game, unfortunately, and my teammate ended up what's it called? My teammate, I think my player A, the Unchained player, I believe he lost his match, and yeah. So we just lost, and then we finished out our final round and won. We did pretty well. We did finish in second place. Our team is called Team Big Backs No More. And yeah, bro, I'm showing you guys my list, and I'll show you guys my teammates list. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off actually with the non-engine. And yeah, you guys, I'm just saying that because people do cheat. We know this. People slow play. People rule shark. There's actually something crazy going down with like people who have homies that are judges. This happened. I've seen this happen only in Seattle, actually, in my experience. I know people be lowly, like just scums, but this happened. I've seen this happen in Seattle, where a couple of people's they have a homie that's a judge. He's losing his match. The judge comes randomly deck checks, comes back, and then the person that's supposed to beat, not the guy whose homie's a judge, but his opponent loses on the spot because he has marked cards. Everybody's cards are bent like tacos, bro. This is a thing that happens to Yu-Gi-Oh cards in general, but he's saying he has marked cards. And so, like, that's a weird thing, and it's, like, crazy when your whole deck is bent like tacos. You don't really have marked cards. Your deck's just bent that way. Have you guys seen what happens like that? That's just so scummy, bro. So, anyways, yeah, let's get into it. It's so scummy. If I can't win on skill, then I just don't want to win, bro. I don't like buys, and I don't like free wins. It's not fun, man. So, anyways, for non-engine, the most important non-engine in this deck, well, we're going to talk about it. I played 2 Baldrakes, 1 Magnamut, and 3 Juice Worm. You can always play more Bystials. It's totally up to you. I try to keep the diversity within my lineup as opposed to the redundancy. These are great cards, but they're not great in every matchup. And instead of 9 Bystials, I actually mean the Shifters. We're going to talk about why these are the most important non-engine. I play 3 Metaltronus, 2 Nib. I'll stop here, be really, really brief. The reason why these are the best non-engine in my deck because they function effectively as combo pieces. They're extenders that help me to play through hand trap. Shifter specifically plays, when I shifter my opponent, I don't have to play through a Caesar. Caesar is very oppressive against my deck. So the reason why Shifter is always a real hand trap, even if you guys say, oh, Ryziel doesn't lose the Shifter. I don't care about Ryziel. I just don't want them to summon Caesar. I just don't want them to have the grind game from Fiendsmith, because Ryziel can't grind with my deck in the first place. I out there field spell, they're not doing anything. They're burning through 2 ices in their first turn 1 combo. It just doesn't matter. And so Shifter is very real. It cuts off X line. There's no twins. There's no recursion. There's no aggregator. The detonator is just not going to be able to bring itself back. Shifter Metaltronus cooks the whole board, bro. Cooks the whole inboard, bro. So it's a crazy card. It also cuts off cards like Valor and Ogre. Those are 2 of the 3 hand traps that are actually real against this deck. Imperm, Valor, and Ogre. And Dominus Impulse, but that's very predicated to the matchup. Like, the Ryziel decks can't play Impulse. So those are the 4 hand traps that matter the most if your hand is just basic and average. If you have a Name plus a Bystial, Nib no longer matters because Nib is the other one that can be real, but Dormouse beats Nib by itself, and any Name plus Bystial beats Nib. So yeah, Shifter also works like a crossout. It just simplifies the game state, and it also cuts off interactions that I would lose to. It kills the Fiendsmith decks. Also, there are Malice players that play Fiendsmith, so it cooks them too. And it not only helps you play through hand traps, but also your normal summons can play through hand traps better because you just skip steps to get to your lane 3. So I like Shifter a lot for myriad of reasons. Even when it's not a hand trap, it just works like a blanket, bro. It works like a crossout, and it also just cuts off the card that matters. Caesar is better than Detonator. Yeah, you guys, against my deck. And then the same thing with the Bystials. They put bodies on my opponent's field, on my field on my opponent's turn, so I can start my turn off with the body, which means I'm playing through Nib way cleaner, skipping steps. You know, there's 1 less body that I have to put out. The same thing with Nibiru. It's a combo piece. Bystials are crazy. Every time you have a chance to Bystial a name, even if it's on your opponent's turn, just do it, even if it's on their end phase, so that you can use your effect to summon from Banish Zone again. So if you can, like, banish the Cheshire Cat, bring it back, and then start your turn off with that Cheshire Cat and that Bystial, even if you're just got hand trap, couldn't get to White Binder, whatever reason, you can just link those off, keep playing, and you'll be able to bring the Cheshire Cat back again. I've seen so many Malice players just get cooked because they don't, and that's the unfortunate thing. Why Malice, I think, doesn't really do well in Top Cut specifically, the conversion rate is low, is because most of Malice players are just scrubs. They don't know what they're doing. They're like role players, bro. I see them play so incorrectly, and it's so unfair that Malice players play so poorly and they never get punished. I'm not like that. I'm actually like that, bro. Like, I'm nice with this deck, but a lot of the Malice players really just, they make the deck look terrible. Metaltronus, also same thing. It outs Detonator and it outs Caesar, and it also puts a body on field so I can play better through hand traps. So these are the best non-engine for those reasons, because they put bodies, they extend through hand traps, and they are hand traps. So it's the perfect kind of nuanced, multifaceted reason to play these cards. Metaltronus can be Ashed and it can be Impulsed. Spoiler alert, and I am on Ashen Impulse, so that's the beauty of like how non-engine trades with other non-engines, and the Fiendsmith engine is pretty good against this deck. Bystials are nice. So you essentially have like the 3 shifters, the 6 Bystials, and then you have the these 4 Fiendsmith decks. You have 3 Ash, you also have 3 Impulse, double Impulse, Talent, and Callby. That's it for the non-engine. A lot of my non-engine works playing into boards. All the Bystials work, Metaltronus works, and then also all of these work playing into boards. Ash hits Metaltronus. Ash also checks the Requiems to keep them off of Fiendsmith and Paradise on your turn. Ash hits a lot of different cards. It hits DB, it hits MPL7 in the mirror match. It's just crazy. Impulse just cooks the mirror match. It cooks going second, especially because you just hold this for GW06. Nothing else matters. Even if they have Nib, you playing the Nib knowing that you just killed their follow-up and they're not doing anything and they didn't top deck good and you don't have a hand trap. So this card's just crazy. It hits everything. It hits Blue Eye Spirit, Dragon, Tag Out. It can just out their whole board. If you have a Trap Engrave and they True Light, you can just impulse it. It hits Nib. It hits Bystials. It's everything. It's the literal, like, kind of sometimes the best hand trap. It checks twins interactions, like when you imperm their detonator and they have twins, you just impulse that and their just whole inboard just cooked. Impulse also works just like Ash to hit the Requiem so that they can't get to Fiendsmith and Paradise in your turn, as well as Talents and Call by just being broken. Talents is also at 1 because of side decking patterns. You basically play essentially 4 Talents post-siding. You need a Talents in your list. If you don't play Talents, people won't play around it, and I need people to play around it. And so that's one of the reasons why I play it, is sometimes the existence of Talents is enough for the mind games for you to not even have to draw Talents all the time, and people still play around it. Another good reason to play Nib, so it's actually real. When people get more privy to the non-engine that you're not on, they play more haphazardly, and what they do is they actually play more like Solitaire. What I want them to do is play conservatively and safe, even though I don't have it. And that's what most people are going to do. They're going to respect what they lose to, I think, for the most part, unless they're just greedy. Now getting to my engine, I played 3 copies of Dormouse, 3 Whitebinder, 3 Chessie. I actually max out on field spells and Goldsart. I think, in my opinion, outside of Malice losing to just the pilot being poor, because there's way more people that pilot Malice poorly than there are that pilot efficiently and well. It loses most of its games to itself. And that's, the pilot has something to do with that too, but Malice loses a lot of games to itself because it's just due to bricking. And because of that, I just see no reason why you would opt to play any less than these 14 engine. You need to see a starter. If you just see one name plus any of those non-engine I talked to you about, you will be comboing through a minimum of 1 high impact hand trap. And so I don't understand why Malice players do what they do. They play very greedy. They opt for the most like atrocious, like explosive combos and lose to every card in the game, and they just don't really play efficiently. People set up Griffin Lock and like just play into Talents for no reason. There's a reason why I be cooking with this deck, bro. This deck works perfectly for my kind of playstyle. I like a high floor, low ceiling, kind of just smack dab in the middle. Always consistent though. That's all I need. I'd rather play a deck that's consistently mid than a deck that has so many high highs and low lows. Like Malice is just consistently mid for me. It's a great deck. You can do more than what I do. I just don't think that I need to do too much, bro. I win games just with the bare minimum, just a minimalistic approach. I use my interactions well timed. Most people just Ash upstarts, bro. They don't know I don't know, bro. I'm sorry that you're not nice. Like, it's not my fault. You're not nice, bro. You ain't like that. But yeah, most people just, it doesn't matter if they're playing Malice, Rizio. They just don't know how to interact correctly. And that's a navigation issue. That's a sequencing issue. That's a them problem. But with me, I cooked so much just with like a Metaltronus and Ash and a GW06. Like an Impermanence and Impulse and a GW06. Like most of the time, if I wasn't interacting, because the way I play Malice, I actually end on Griffin. A lot of people do the greedy play. They summon the Masquerena and leave Griffin in grave to bring it back off a bow. That plays into a hard drawn impulse. That plays into a call by. That plays into Bestials. If you got that far in your combo, the only thing that you would be losing to at that point is a way to cut you off of Griffin. So I actually abow my Griffin back in zone 3 on my turn 1 combo and pass. And then if they out the Griffin, then I abow it back on their turn. And if they have it at that point, it's a low likelihood of them being able to play through it because they have to out the Griffin first, and then they need a card to stop the Griffin from bringing the abow from bringing it back, and then you can just GW6 whenever you want. And so I literally sit on GW06 and wait until they have like the materials to put up a Link monster to play under it so that they can Griffin, and that's really hard for Ryzeal. Most of the time they just don't have it. The only thing ending on Griffin can lose to is a hard drawn X. And that's if you're not under shifter. If you have shifter, they're just cooked, bro. And I don't mind that. I'd rather I play into 1X than I play into Bestials, play into Impulse, and play into Called By. All those cards, there's more copies of those than there is just of the X. And I'm okay. If they start with X, I'm not worried about Fiendsmith cards either. So now it's just a simple Ryzeal board, and I'm cooking that, bro. Just with Binder and Cryptor Control alone, they're not going to beat me with just Ryzeal Engine. So yeah, Extra Deck, Link Decoder, Link Spider. These two cards are not really real to me. I'm not really using Masquerena the way people use it. I hardly summon it. And Firewall is a very good card, especially when you have to use Splash Made. It makes your inboard better. These cards actually, to me, should be a DD Wave King Caesar for Metatronus and a Nightmare Cerberus for Chaos Hunter. I'd rather my extra deck be a toolbox for problem-solving purposes than it be a toolbox for the utility sakes of how I can diversify my inboard. And that sounds so crazy because maybe you would want to diversify your inboard more. But I feel, in my opinion, I need to have more outs to the cards that I lose to because I just think my engine's good enough. I don't think that I need the highest ceiling inboard when my engine's already so strong. If I have a way to summon a Link 3 and I got it to resolve, I just feel like I'm winning that duel. Why do I need to do more than I need to? I just feel like people play greedy. And so Firewall's nice. I'm not saying it's bad, but it is going to get cut for a Caesar more than likely because I lose to Caesar more. I lose more games by not being able to deal with Caesar than I will lose games by not being able to summon Firewall. I've summoned this card one time since I started playing Malice, and I didn't even use it the way most people use it. And Masquerena is something I just hardly ever summon. It's not that it's bad, it's a good card, and it does work in like Fuwalos. If you get Fuwalos, there's certain lines where like Masquerena can be vital, but I'd rather have Nightmare Cerberus so that whether I draw an out to Chaos Hunter or not, I can cook the Chaos Hunter with Cerberus, and if I have a Bestial Extender or any other engine, I can keep playing. That to me is just the reason why I do so well, because my rule of thumb is always to identify what I lose to and play around it, as opposed to just playing solitaire. People play like people don't have hand traps. They just be acting like the cards aren't real, bro. So these cards are probably going to get cut moving forward. I didn't lose to Chaos Hunter, but I just know that if there's an offhand chance that I do lose, it would be to a Chaos Hunter. If there's an offhand chance that I would lose, it would be like a Fiendsmith deck getting to put up Caesar. I know that I play 6 Bestials and 3 Shifters, but still, and the Impulses, but still, it's one of the few instances where I can lose if I don't draw the out. So I like the out to be in my extra deck sometimes. We have SP, Lizard Dose, and Splash Mage. You go into 2 of these most often in your turn 1 combo. Most of the time, I go into Lizard Dose and SP. I save the Splash for when it's the Hail Mary. This is my Hail Mary. I don't really like it because this is one of those instances where your deck will lose to Bestials when you never do. And then the literal actual win conditions, you most of the time summon all these turn 1 and you just link them off. This deck gets infinite link materials, and that's where GW06 always cooks, because it gets 07, it gets Encryptor, your opponent can't OTK you, you got Field Spell up, it just, you win on the spot, bro. 06 to me is like ABC Dragon Buster Tag Out. That's what 06 is for me in this deck. It's just, you just win on the spot. If you even get to resolve White Binder and get your resources engraved, your opponent just gets cooked, because you just get to soul charge yourself like infinite times, and you just get like 10 to 11 link materials every single turn on your turn and your opponent's turn. This deck is just literally broken. Griffin, I don't play in the talents. I don't know why people interact. They put up Griffin and then they start going like, I ash your not your bonfire. They'd be like, I ash your ice effect. And it's just like, bro, like whatever they summon off ice isn't gonna resolve. It doesn't matter, my guy. At least hope they ask for, like, if they summon Requiem and they want to do Fiendsmith stuff, combo under sequence or combo under Requiem zone, whatever they want to do. It's just weird. People playing the Talons for no reason. It's like, nothing threatens the Griffin. Don't interact. They need to out Griffin to be able to play. I don't know why people do that. They like start hand trapping, playing in the Talons. They're negating cards that Griffin already checks. People are just weird bozos. Abao is a double-edged sword. It works in an offensive regard. It works for my inboard. It helps me to outgrind. It diversifies my inboard as well. And also, it's an out to Caesar naturally with Metatronus unless they have dual drive. That's the only other reason why I would want to play the Caesar in my actual extra deck and cut the Firewall. Because if they end on dual drive, even if I hand trap dual drive, it'll still have its materials. And Caesar will be at, like, you know, 3,000. And then I can't Metatronus for the Abao because she's at 28. So, yeah, she's a Fiend with 28. So she out Caesar unless they have duo. And that's why I want to play Caesar, so that I can guarantee deal with it. Because sometimes you have the out to Detonator, you don't have the out to Caesar. Sometimes you have the out to Caesar, and you don't have the out to Detonator. That's why I want both the options. Because those are the games where I lose those games when I have control over it. And that's the other aspect of why I'm talking about cutting those cards, because I want more controlled variables for how I close out games. Because I feel like if I just win game 1, I'm winning the match. And that's just how Malice works. Your game 1 is the most important game. And you're guaranteed winning game 3. So yeah, the side decking with this deck is atrocious. We have Code, we have Detonator, and then Typhon. And that's going to wrap up my deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You will be seeing me playing Malice more. This is one of my main decks. I love it so much. It's very fun. If you play it correctly, I think it's the best deck. The reason why Ryzeo is doing better is because it's an easier deck to pilot. It's harder to punish people when they play that deck. And also, I think the conversion rate for Malice is poorly in Top Cut because people don't play it correctly. It's the same reason why Branded looks like a bad deck, because bad people play it. So thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you guys. Don't do drugs. Don't hurt your brain cells. Make good choices. Deuces!